This message comes from IXL. IXL is an award-winning online learning platform that helps kids truly understand what they're learning. This is the time of year when kids benefit from reviewing key learning concepts to end the year on a high note. One subscription covers everything, pre-K through 12th grade for all the kids in your home. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. Receive an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when signing up today at IXL.com/NPR.
Just a heads up, y'all, before we get started. In June, Code Switch is going to start coming out on Tuesdays and Fridays. You ain't got to change nothing. Just, we will be here appearing in your feed, just on different days.
And this episode is all about language, particularly some salty and offensive language. Be warned. Hey everyone, you're listening to Code Switch, the show about race and identity from NPR. I'm B.A. Parker.
And I'm Gene Demby.
All right, so Gene, I had this thing happen recently that stuck with me. I went to a Broadway show, and there were a couple of kids looking at the stage, and I heard this white kid of elementary school age say, "It's giving Christmas."
It's giving Christmas, okay.
It's giving Christmas. I mean, there were like disco balls and twinkly lights. Anyways, it made me think about how language trickles down.
Or like spreads.
Yeah.
Because like a phrase like "it's giving" comes from the ballroom scene in places like New York City. And the people in that space are mostly queer, Black, and Latino folks.
Yes. And then the phrase filters out into the mouth of a white, maybe third grader at Cats the Jellicle Ball.
You went to see Cats? Okay, let's put that aside for a second.
I was entertaining my mama while she was in town. And for what it's worth, this version is also inspired by New York ballroom.
The purr cat, meow, Cats the Jellicle Ball.
Oh, so maybe it's appropriate that little boy said it's given. But that happens with all sorts of words, right? Like, it's something like inshallah is an Arabic colloquialism that now people like Joe Biden sprinkle into the speech and throw around.
But let me just tell you.
Anne Hathaway had a little viral moment saying it.
I want to have a long, healthy life. Inshallah, I hope so.
That's how you end up with kids all over the country in the Midwest saying things like dead ass, which is another like New York regionalism.
Right. And Gen Alpha has inherited language from Gen Z, who absorbed language from Black and brown folk on the internet.
Right.
And they probably have no idea where it comes from.
Like, were you going to sit down and tell this little 9-year-old, like, about the ins and outs of AAV? Like, what was your plan?
I mean, I wanted to hear memory, so no. But it did make me want to talk to a linguist about how language evolves.
Your words are either coming from Black people or it's coming from incels online, which are involuntary celibates. That is kind of the shorthand if I have to tell someone really quickly.
Hold on. Who is that?
I'm Adam Alexic. I'm a linguist, influencer, author based in Manhattan, and I go online as the etymology nerd.
Adam is a TikToker and also a Harvard-trained linguist. And he wrote a book called Algo Speak, How Social Media is Transforming the Future of Language. And he just touched on the other side of what I'm interested in getting into today. Like, have you noticed that everyone is maxing?
This phenomenon on social media known as maxing.
Maxing. You're doing stuff to the max.
Fiber maxing is the hottest wellness trend right now.
Nona maxing, where people are trying to be grandmas.
More and more people are trying what they call nothing maxing.
Oh. Yeah, the incel speak is everywhere. Like, the troglodytes have truly broken containment. And those are not TikTok voices.
Yeah, because it's gone totally mainstream. Those clips were from The Today Show, Good Morning America, The View, and NPR. Now, Adam traces the origins of maxing and a lot of other playful Gen Z slang back to the dark circles where the vocabulary was born. So on today's show, we get into how the algorithm is changing how we speak and what we can do when language evolves from places we don't agree with.
This message comes from Indeed. For small businesses, the right hire can make or break success. Relying on hope that the right candidates see a job posting isn't an effective growth strategy. Instead, match with candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results now with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Receive a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed. This message comes from NPR sponsor Carvana. Your time is worth more than a waiting game. Carvana gives you a transparent offer for your car in minutes and picks it up from your door. Sell your car today at Carvana.com. Pickup fees may apply.
This message comes from Jerry. Are you tired of your car insurance rate going up, even with a clean driving record? That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/NPR today.
This message comes from Kachava. It can be tough to stick to your wellness routine, especially when you're on the go. Kachava's new travel packs make it easier. Just one packet provides nutrition ready for wherever life takes you, with protein, fiber, greens, probiotics, electrolytes, and more. Take your daily ritual with you. Go to Kachava.com and use code NPR. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code NPR.
I gotta say, etymology is such a specific thing to get into. What got you started?
I don't think it's specific at all. I think it's everything. We all use words all the time. You can't talk about anything without having to use a word, and I want to know where it comes from. In Greek, the word etymology, etymos, means truth. So etymology is the study of truth. You find out something real about who we are when looking into a word.
Guys, we've already hit the ground running. But okay, so what is algo speak?
Yeah, algospeak is the title of my book, but it's also the phenomenon of how algorithms shape our language. So the classic example is unalive instead of kill. Mm-hmm. Historically, the TikTok algorithm has censored or suppressed certain keywords like kill or suicide, so people turn to the word unalive instead. I kind of argue that the algorithm does way more than just that in terms of how it shapes our language. It incentivizes influencers to say certain words, and it pushes the replication of trending keywords.
Okay, because I've been thinking about how recently, how the word maxing has filtered into mainstream media, whether it's life maxing or I saw fiber maxing.
Fiber maxing, I saw the New York Times, Pete Hegseth talked about lethality maxing.
What in the world is that?
Wanting to kill as many people as possible, I guess.
Oh, but okay, but so that's not funny. But that's such a weird way to use that term.
It's strange because the word can be everything from humorous to this deeply serious idea of optimizing ruthlessly.
Yeah. So the term originates from looks maxing. Can you break down the history of that kind of language for us?
Yeah. The term actually goes all the way back to Dungeons and Dragons with min-maxing and then video games. And there's the idea of maximizing your character for some kind of stat, some kind of ability. Then in looks maxing forums in the 2010s, looks maxing is this idea that you can optimize your looks, and it's tied to the maybe nihilistic, quote-unquote, black pill idea that looks are destiny, that your attractiveness is the sole determiner of your sexual success and your position in society.
Wait, okay. I want to go back. What is black pill?
Yeah, black pill is sort of contrasted to the red pill, which is the idea that you should join the Republicans by, taking this pill sort of like in the Matrix. Then that evolved into the black pill, which is the incel ideology, adopting a nihilistic framework toward social interactions that you can game this system. And so there are people who are extremely black-pilled who are also incels because they simply believe that they cannot do anything with their lives given their appearance. And then there are people who are also black-pilled who are looks maxers. A famous streamer that went viral recently and was featured in the New York Times is Clavicular. Mm-hmm. I feel bad platforming this guy, but he is a prototypical example of a looks maxing influencer who is following black pill ideology. Okay,
this is so interesting because I think for a lot of people, we think that maxing universe is so recent. Clavicular, I saw in a GQ article maybe a month and a half ago. And then it just became so ubiquitous so quickly. But you're saying that this term is from over a decade. It just finally hit mainstream?
That's typically the way it is, that it's like festering in this small corner of the internet, in this case 4chan, and then there was looksmax.org and other online forums. So this idea is very important on those early forums. And on 4chan, which is this very online, controversial forum, people have used this suffix in many ways. They are incredibly productive with using language and rebracketing it and making new words out of the words they have. They've come up with all kinds of words that you're familiar with, from slop to copy pasta to rickroll to shitpost. All of these come from 4chan foundational internet words. And at this point, I would say maxing the suffix can be associated with incels, but it's largely dissociated into different contexts. And I saw videos recently about whimsy maxing, which I think is quite a good thing. Or, yeah, nothing maxing sounds fine to me too.
Okay, for the uninitiated who aren't like familiar with the worldview that comes along with the term incel, can you break that down for us?
Yeah, incels start in 1997 on this website, Alana's Involuntary Celibate Project. And this was actually a woman, and it was merely like an online space for people to gather who feel like they are bad at finding romantic partners, which, you know, is a timeless problem. But the internet was the first time these people were able to gather and create a community online. And it wasn't initially like a negative space, but eventually there was a group of more misogynistic users that broke off and created their own forums. There were a series of different forums in the early 2000s. There was specific boards on 4chan, which is, again, this website where anything really goes. And that evolved into memes that made their way to different platforms like Reddit and TikTok and eventually bubbled into the mainstream. A lot of people ended up adopting these words without knowing the original origin.
Wait, what's bubbling up that I need to like emotionally prepare myself for?
Okay, for this audience, the words chud and foid are getting popular. Chud describes like a loser character in his mother's basement. Foid is sort of a dehumanizing term for women. These are both words that have been getting more popular in 2026.
Okay, this might date me. I remember the term chud. There's a movie from the 80s.
Yeah, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, 1984.
Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. Chud. They're not staying down there anymore.
And it was also used in Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko was my context for it as a teenager.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks he's so rad. Such a fucking chud. Everything he does, they're just gonna...
Are you okay?
Yeah. So again, like, the underlying thing is maybe not inherently the incels themselves, but the word was taken by them and, you know, used as a way to self-describe. And then the modern way the word is filtering, you have to understand it went through that bottleneck.
Okay, so people like to say that, you know, like, language evolves, right? And we use plenty of words every day that are from like odd or problematic origins. How much of a problem do you think it is when we use words like mog, which I think is like to look or perform far better than someone else? Like when those kind of words proliferate, like how much of a problem do you think that is?
Yeah, mog comes from alpha male of the group. It's also incel idea describing, you know, being better than someone. If you maxed more than them, you can mog them. I would say it is highly contextual, like all language. These words can be used to make fun of the incels. They can be used for perfectly innocent purposes. But also, it is undeniably true that they have sort of mainstreamed incel ideology. And these forums have gotten larger, and the black pill has gotten more adherents. And that is a negative effect because a problem with the internet is it's very hard to tell when someone's joking or not. There's a constant hopscotching between irony and authenticity. Mm-hmm. And somebody could say something and then say, oh, no, I was joking. And that's like sort of a plausible deniability. So that allows more extreme language to filter through this lens of it being a joke. That's why, like, I think I would be careful about using any word that you know comes from these. Like, I don't want to use the words chud and foid other than in an academic context.
Yeah.
Because I fear that even using the word helps widen the window. There's this idea of the Overton window, which is the range of acceptable discourse. Mm-hmm. And the more a certain idea gets represented, the more acceptable it is to articulate it authentically. And I fear that the Overton window is shifting closer to the black pill.
So, like, how often does something that is being said ironically sort of pivot into that earnest use?
Pretty frequently. I mean, that's exactly what happened with the maxing pilled chud. All of this started as a joke, and that's why it spread, because I think language travels when we see it as funny often. So there are memes that came out of these image boards which were genuinely pretty funny. I've laughed at many of these. Wojak, which is like cartoon characters, or this streamer Clavicular genuinely gets up to hilarious antics if you take away the fact that he is, a very problematic person. But even, like, if we think about it, Clavicular could never have gone viral in 2020. The framework simply wasn't there for him yet. It wasn't normal enough for other people to adopt the set of ideas that he was proposing. So it took enough of these memes filtering out for the environment to be primed for this character to emerge.
So then, what is the impact of incel vocab on our culture?
Yeah, I think there's perhaps a dangerous rhetoric that atomizes society in a way that you can optimize, that there are these discrete categories that you can put people into, either incel or, looksmax or chud, or like the fact that you can put people into buckets, I think is a very dangerous idea. I think language itself does this. So I have some qualms with even the spoken word, I suppose. But a lot of the incel ideology pushes the idea that we can be reduced to these base units. And then from those units, there is an objective, if you have positive canthal tilt, which is the shape like that your eyes are facing, that is more attractive. Or if you have this kind of jawline, that is more attractive. And it doesn't really recognize the subjectivity and the variance that exists in the human condition.
So for a long time, we've used phrases like cakewalk or long time no see, which, and then more recently, maxing, all these terms have problematic origins. What does it mean when we adopt vocabulary with racist and eugenicist roots into mainstream culture?
Yeah. There's one argument that, nobody thinks about long time no see anymore, which comes out of mocking Chinese pidgin English. And if nobody uses it, nobody thinks about it that way, and people are using it as this kind expression between themselves. It's sort of like using maxing for whimsy maxing or something.
Yeah.
It is good, I think, to be aware of this stuff and be aware of when words have the potential to hurt people. It's possible some people are hurt by long time no see. Once I found out the origin of the word, I kind of stopped using it because there are many alternatives. But I don't think it's and I think a problem with a lot of people are feeling is the sense that your language is being policed. Ideally, if we all just are thoughtful about it, we end up choosing the kinder option and we think about what we're saying. But there's sort of that tension as well.
Fingers crossed, man.
What is even meaning, right? Perhaps there is no meaning whatsoever, and we're just grasping at sound waves and we think this matters. But in another sense, maybe everything matters.
That's coming up. Stay with us.
This message comes from Jerry. Many people are overpaying on car insurance. Why? Switching providers can be a pain. Jerry helps make the process painless. Jerry is the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/NPR.
This message comes from Kachava. It can be tough to stick to your wellness routine, especially when you're on the go. Kachava's new travel packs make it easier. Just one packet provides nutrition ready for wherever life takes you, with protein, fiber, greens, probiotics, electrolytes, and more. Take your daily ritual with you. Go to Kachava.com and use code NPR. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code NPR. This message comes from Thumbtack. Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews all on the app. Download today.
From Spider-Man to a new Steven Spielberg movie, we know the TV and movies you'll want to watch this summer.
I'm excited about this film. I just know suspense, intrigue, aliens, and I'm like, all right, Spielberg, I'm in.
Check out the summer guide from Pop Culture Happy Hour. Listen on the NPR app or wherever you get podcasts.
Parker, just Parker. Code Switch. I'm talking to Adam Alexic, a linguist, influencer, and author of AlgoSpeak, How Social Media is Transforming the Future of Language. I want to pivot to something that I've also been thinking about with the way that language on the internet is bandied about. It's that like mainstream culture has always stolen words from Black culture, going back to like even the word cool. Yep. How has the internet impacted the cycle of linguistic appropriation?
Yeah, so cool first is a great example. I think you have to contextualize it in this thing that's been ongoing. Like earliest records of the word cool were in the 1880s in African American English, and then it goes into like jazz, and then it's taken by the beatniks, and then it's taken by like people trying to adopt this aesthetic of coolness. Coolness was originally a nonchalance under pressure or something like that, a resistance. And I think it sort of demonstrates exactly the pattern that it travels to increasingly peripheral groups, capitalizing on the underlying idea without perhaps embodying the idea to the same extent. And the internet has allowed for an unprecedented growth of this kind of language. I mentioned that, language travels when either it's funny or when it's cool. The word cool was literally cool. It sounded cool to say it.
Yeah.
In the same way, a lot of like ballroom slang from New York City in the 1980s, this, gay, Black, Latino space was seen as cool to many people, and it traveled to increasingly peripheral groups. So from that space to other just gay men in general, regardless of their race. And then from that to their like straight white girl friends of the gay men. And then it's used on RuPaul's Drag Race, and then somebody thinks it's okay to use it on TikTok. And once you see a white girl saying it on TikTok, you completely have lost the context of where it came from. And you think, this is the word slay or serve or eight, queen, bussing. There are a lot going on there. Once you see that being used in a completely different context, you lose the original community it originated from, and you think it's, I guess, your word, but it does take power out of that original community as well. The internet, in decontextualizing, also has allowed for hood irony memes, which is a separate branch of how like Black language travels into Gen Z slang, again in quotes. And these are like memes making fun of how people talk in the hood.
Oh.
So there's a few like ironic uses of Black language that have proliferated into the mainstream.
So is this the whole side of the internet where everyone's just talking in quotation marks?
Talking in quotation marks is a really good way of looking at it. I'm reminded of Sontag. Camp sees everything in quotation marks. And that's what both ballroom and the hood irony community do. They see the world through a camp lens in different ways, but there is no recognizing the thing for the thing itself. It is, the thing as artifice. It is how it performs. And then it's funny. And this is sort of the incel language as well. This is sort of the hood irony language, that we are drawn to the ironic level of performance rather than the actual effect it does.
Wait, okay, this is reminding me of a video of yours that I watched. You were talking about how English speakers will co-opt a foreign word and take away all of its meaning.
Wallahi is becoming the new bumbleclot.
Bumbleclot.
Yes, because I would love for you to explain just like what's happening to that and like the phrase wahale.
Wallahi.
Wallahi, see? Oh my God. That's why I have no business saying it.
Yeah. I think words mean different things to different people. There are some people who use bumbleclot and some people use wallahi extremely seriously. And at this point, there are people who use it extremely unseriously. Wallahi means like on God. Bumbleclot is just like now a funny interjection depending on who you ask. And then there are communities that are somewhere in the middle, like different groups of the Muslim diaspora who have already been using the word wallahi in a more loose way than, but the deeply Muslim communities are extremely careful about swearing to God. But now it's also like a Gen Z slang phrase as well. There was an iShowSpeed clip. This is a popular streamer, and he has this bit where he says, "Say wallahi."
Say wallahi, bro. Say wallahi. Say you swear to God that just happened. I just spent $200,000.
And it was in a reaction to something serious, but it was that was clipped out of context. And maybe the out of context thing is also important to understanding how words travel on the internet. You know, Gen Alpha kids will say wallahi as well because it's just like funny. It's something you saw this streamer do. Like you see something without context and you scroll. And then you don't question it. You don't question the original, where it came from. You don't question what the story is behind this word. I think the clip is a very dangerous medium, and we should be aware of it. And streamers like Clavicular have built their careers on the backbone of clip farming, which is taking snippets of videos out of context and then replaying them over and over again, finding the funniest thing. There are entire armies of clippers out there who are intentionally trying to find the most sensational stuff that will go viral. And of course, the elephant in the room here is that the social media platforms themselves created this structure where dangerous ideas can propagate, and they tell you they're a platform connoting neutrality, but they're structuring things that create profit for them instead of things that enable and enhance our natural human inclination to be kind to each other.
What is the impact of forgetting or never knowing the origins of words? Like, is it that serious?
In a way, it is. In a way, nothing serious. It's what is even meaning, right? Perhaps there is no meaning whatsoever, and we're just grasping at sound waves, and we think this matters. But in another sense, maybe everything matters, and maybe we really should. And I think that is sort of the distinction between the nihilistic online, which doesn't consider anything to matter whatsoever, and I would say our position here is more existentialist, that we're trying to imbue everything with meaning, and I find that more beautiful. I find that kind of a more important human instinct than simply giving up, declaring that nothing has value. And I think there's an argument for we should do everything to try to build a better internet. We should try to do everything to spread kindness online.
From your lips,
Again, if nothing means nothing, then it doesn't matter. And if everything means everything, then we might as well try.
I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I can't navigate the world like through quotation marks. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, irony is great. I like joking around, right? But it is part of the problem that we are considering the, depth that everything has or could have depending on your perspective.
This is the earnest part of the program.
I'm hopefully practicing what I'm preaching. Yeah.
Adam Alexic is the author of AlgoSpeak, How Social Media is Transforming the Future of Language. Online, he goes by the Etymology Nerd. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
And that's our show. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to Code Switch on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts. This episode was produced by Jess Kung. It was edited by Courtney Stein.
And we'd be remiss if we did not shout out the rest of the Code Switch Massive. That's, of course, Christina Kala, Xavier Lopez, Leah Danella, Daya Mortada, Barton Girdwood, and Yolanda Sangweni. I'm Gene Demby.
I'm B.A. Parker.
Be easy, y'all.
Hydrate.
Wait, what's Memories? I'm sorry. In this context.
Memories, the song from Cat, is like the most famous song from Cats.
Oh, okay. All right.
Memories all alone in the moonlight. Never heard some sad?
No,
all right.
Absolutely not. I don't know anything about Cats outside of it being a fever dream. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
This message comes from Kachava. It can be tough to stick to your wellness routine, especially when you're on the go. Kachava's new travel packs make it easier. Just one packet provides nutrition ready for wherever life takes you, with protein, fiber, greens, probiotics, electrolytes, and more. Take your daily ritual with you. Go to Kachava.com and use code NPR. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code NPR.
From Spider-Man to a new Steven Spielberg movie, we know the TV and movies you'll want to watch this summer.
I'm excited about this film. I just know suspense, intrigue, aliens, and I'm like, all right, Spielberg, I'm in.
Check out the summer guide from Pop Culture Happy Hour. Listen on the NPR app or wherever you get podcasts.